My fiancée publicly mocked me as insecure for questioning her male friends after camping with her ex, painting me as controlling while I stayed silent, let her feel powerful, and quietly took everything back when she least expected it. I, a 31-year-old male, have been working as a plumber since I was 21. I started out cleaning drains and learning the ropes under a guy named Rick, who smoked Marlboros indoors and treated every clogged toilet like a war zone. I worked my ass off, saved every dime, and now I run my own crew. 3 trucks, 4 full-time guys, a solid contract base, and the kind of word-of-mouth pipeline that keeps the phone ringing. Not bad for a dude who grew up in a single wide with a mom who worked night shifts and a stepdad who thought Monster Energy was a food group. My crew's tight. Martin can snake a drain blindfolded and has Home Depot managers on speed dial. Joey's fresh out of trade school and hungry. Big Jim's nearly 50 and still outworks guys half his age. We handle everything from leaky faucets to full-blown commercial builds. I inherited my granddad's place when I was 26, a 3-bedroom ranch on 2 acres just outside of town. Nothing flashy, but it's clean, solid, and fully paid off. I gutted the garage myself, turned it into a killer workspace with a snap-on toolbox that cost more than my first car. Built-in surround sound, punching bag in the corner, and a beer fridge stocked with Gatorade and jerky because I don't drink. The house was a fortress of peace. The property's got potential too, big enough to expand if I ever want. Mature oak trees that actually cool the place in summer. And a workshop out back, where I rebuild small engines for fun. Neighbors are decent. Retired couple on one side who bring me cookies. Young family on the other who actually wave when they drive by. That's where I met Vicky. She was 28 when this started. Blonde, gym-bodied with that Pinterest core aesthetic. I met her at my neighbor's 4th of July barbecue. She showed up wearing white shorts and holding one of those sparkling waters that taste like regret. She told me she worked in digital strategy. Turns out she was running the Instagram pages for sushi places and overpriced cafes that serve avocado toast on reclaimed wood. She talked like she was running marketing for SpaceX, brand engagement, client verticals, building the vibe. The whole thing was so try-hard it circled back to being funny. But hey, she was hot, charming, had that confident boss girl energy that guys either fall for or run from. I was in the first category, apparently. The first few dates were actually solid. She seemed impressed that I owned my own business, asked good questions about the work, even laughed when I told her about some of the weird calls we get. One time I had to fish a kid's toy dinosaur out of a toilet. Apparently it was a swimming lesson gone wrong. She thought that was hilarious. I figured opposites attract. I fix broken things with my hands. She stares at screens for a living. Yin and yang, right? Big mistake. Her friend group was straight up insufferable, led by this girl, Brittany. Imagine if a Ring camera had a personality disorder. Brittany had 800 Instagram followers and acted like she was on a press tour, always filming herself opening Amazon boxes like she was unboxing the Ark of the Covenant. Constantly spouting off about manifesting success and cutting out negative energy, which translated to, "Don't question me while I self-destruct for likes." Every one of Vicky's friends had that same glazed-over influencer vibe. It was like the Avengers if all they assembled for was brunch and vague posts about toxic energy. If Wi-Fi went out, they'd file for emotional disability and live-stream the breakdown. They couldn't have a conversation without trying to capture it. Everything was a photo shoot. I once made burgers for a football Sunday, and Brittany arranged them into a heart shape before letting anyone eat. I wish I was joking. The worst part, they'd show up to my place like they owned it. Rearranging furniture for better lighting. Using my bathroom mirror for content. Leaving equipment plugged in all over the house. One time I came home and found 3 of them filming some dance routine in my living room. They didn't even ask permission. Now enter Julian, Vicky's ex from college. A real sensitive poet type. The kind of guy who writes long captions about emotional resilience and still posts selfies from angles that scream, "Tell me I'm pretty." She claimed they were just friends. That tired line. But this dude was always hanging around like a mosquito that wouldn't die. He texted her whenever he had a bad day. I once caught him crying on her shoulder during a movie night. "I kid you not," she said. He just needed someone to talk to, and she ate that up. The attention, the drama, being the safe place for some emotionally stunted ex who couldn't move on. Julian worked at some startup that sold meditation apps or something equally useless. Dude acted like he was in the prequel to Eat, Pray, Love. He looked like someone who got rejected from the Jedi Temple for excessive journaling. Once he wore a poncho to brunch and spent 15 minutes explaining how oat milk changed his life. Meanwhile, I'm over here fixing sewage backups in February so people can flush again. He always wore those thin hipster beanies even in summer and had opinions about coffee that lasted longer than most people's marriages. Dude probably spent more on skincare than I do on truck maintenance. My best friend Tommy, guy's been in my corner since high school, spotted it from the jump. Bro, he said, that chick's got more red flags than a Chinese parade. That's his way of saying she's a walking HR violation wrapped in lip gloss. Tommy doesn't say much, but when he does, it's gospel. I should have listened. There's a gut feeling every man gets. Not jealousy, just off, like when your wrench slips and you know your knuckles are about to get shredded. That's the feeling I ignored. So here's some background that's going to matter later. Vicky moved in with me about a year ago. Well, sort of. She brought all her stuff, took over half my closet, reorganized my kitchen like she was filming a damn HGTV pilot, but still kept her downtown apartment just in case. Her words, it was for storage, maybe a little office space for her freelance clients, right? I didn't push it at the time. I figured whatever, we all need our space, right? Truth is, it was her escape hatch, built-in insurance policy in case things didn't go her way. I was living like a man planning a life. She was living like someone playing a role. The apartment was this overpriced studio in the trendy part of downtown. $1,400 a month for 600 square feet and exposed brick walls that probably had more character than she did. I helped her move the essential stuff to my place, which apparently included 14 throw pillows and a collection of candles that could stock a Bath and Body Works. Meanwhile, I'm paying the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and basically funding her lifestyle while she keeps a backup plan downtown. Real partnership material right there. Now, here's where it really started to rot. Vicky was obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with how our relationship looked online. Every date night had to be filmed like we were auditioning for The Bachelor. Anytime I made dinner, that plate better be camera ready. I built a new shoe rack for her. Got to stage a before and after reel. Fixed her car's AC. That went straight into a my man can fix anything story with some sappy caption. She'd spend 20 minutes staging a single photo of us watching TV, move the couch, adjust the lighting, change her outfit twice, then make me hold the same pose while she took 40 shots. All for a casual night in post that got maybe 30 likes. To her followers, I was the perfect handyman boyfriend, the human Pinterest board. Meanwhile, in real life, I was starting to feel like a background prop in her curated existence. But here's the real thing. She never, not once, posted anything about my actual work. You know, the thing that pays for everything. Nah. I'd finish a rough job, haul gear back after 12 hours in 90-degree crawl spaces, land a contract that brought in 5 figures in a week, and she'd scroll past that like it was a mosquito. Last summer, I got called out for an emergency at this fancy hotel. Mainline busted, flooding the lobby, $100,000 in potential damage. Worked through the night with my crew, saved their asses, and they wrote me a check for $8,000 on the spot. Came home exhausted, but proud. Vicky was editing photos of her smoothie bowl. Her page was full of soy lattes, white desk aesthetics, and her saying crap like, "So blessed to work with such inspiring brands today." Meanwhile, I'm out here running payroll, ordering supplies, managing contractors, and getting my hands dirty so she can film herself holding a laptop for 3 hours at a co-working space. And guess what? She'd still say crap like, "We're both entrepreneurs, babe." Yeah. One of us wears steel toes, the other wears filters. Her friends were somehow even worse. Brittany, who always acted like she was 15 minutes late to a TED Talk, once asked me, dead serious, if I ever planned to do something more professional long-term. This was at my own damn dinner table. I was slicing up the steaks I'd grilled while she said it. Like, "Sorry, lady, but you sell crystals on Etsy and talk to your phone for a living. Meanwhile, I employ 4 guys and pay quarterly taxes on 6 figures. I didn't say that out loud. Should have. Another time, this chick named Madison, who I'm pretty sure never worked a day in her life, suggested I should pivot into real estate because trades are so limiting. This was after I just finished telling them about expanding into commercial work. Real estate, like I wanted to become another suit with a Kia and a business card. Anyway, things were still coasting. Vicky was locked in on the wedding planning like it was a military operation. Color-coded spreadsheets, Pinterest boards, mood lighting, the whole production. Her parents were footing the bill. Around $25,000 they'd apparently been saving since she was in braces. Venue, flowers, catering, a full open bar, even though I don't drink. Whatever. Her mom cried over table linens. I just stayed out of the way and kept writing checks. The proposal? That was last Christmas. I saved up for months and dropped about $8,000 on a ring. White gold, 1.2 carat, certified. Not the biggest rock in the world. But it was clean and it sparkled like hell under Christmas lights. Her whole family went nuts. Her mom was posting boomerangs of her crying. Vicky was spinning around with her hand in the air like she just won The Price is Right. She got about 500 likes on that post. I remember because she showed me every single comment. She looked like a Hallmark movie protagonist on a caffeine bender. The engagement party was peak Vicky. 50 people crammed into her parents' backyard, professional photographer, custom cocktails with our initials, and a backdrop wall covered in fake flowers for photos. She changed outfits 3 times. I wore the same button-down all night and got lectured about not bringing energy to the celebration. After that, wedding mode hit turbo. Guest list ballooned. Registry started including $400 appliances we'd never use. We had a whole meeting about napkin textures. I nodded through all of it like a good fiancé. Then right on cue, Julian started creeping back into the frame. Subtle at first, likes and comments on her posts, inside jokes in the captions, then texts. Then he started popping up at group events like a damn raccoon who figured out how to open the trash can lid. And that's when things started to shift. March rolls around, and Vicky comes home from work with that weird, fake excited energy she always gets when she's about to drop something sketchy. You know the vibe? Overly cheerful, fake upbeat tone, big smile that never reaches the eyes. The same tone she used when she accidentally spent $300 on candles from some influencer brand. I'm elbow deep in the kitchen sink at this point. Garbage disposal jammed because she tried to put lemon rinds and kale stems down there again. So I'm half listening, covered in sink gunk, and trying not to strip a bolt. Babe, she starts, drawing it out like she's pitching a Disney vacation. You know how I've been saying I want to get back into hiking? I grunt. Yeah, sure, she perks up like that was a yes. Well, Julian's organizing this camping trip next weekend with his adventure club. It's supposed to be this amazing trail system like 3 hours north near the state park with those cliffs I showed you on TikTok. That got my attention. I stopped working, wiped my hands on a rag and turned around slow. Julian's organizing it? I asked. She immediately launched into damage control mode. It's not just him. There's like 8 people going, guys and girls. It's a group thing, casual. He invited me because I mentioned I wanted to be more outdoorsy this year. Uh-huh. So, your ex, the dude who still sniffs around your inbox like a lost dog, is hosting a co-ed sleepover in the middle of nowhere, and you think it's just a fitness goal? I kept my voice flat. Who exactly is going? She starts rattling off names like she's reading off a Yelp review. Alyssa, Rachel, Noah, some guy named Corey. I think Mike's bringing his girlfriend, and one guy named Kai. All strangers. Not a single name I recognized from the past 3 years. People I'd never met, never heard stories about, never seen in a single tagged photo. People she apparently knew well enough to drive into the woods with for 2 days, but not well enough to mention ever. The whole thing smelled worse than a backed-up septic tank, so I push it. Any of them I've met? She freezes for half a beat. None. But why does that matter? They're not my friends. They're Julian's friends. It's about hiking, not socializing. That right there, that condescending tone shift, like I'm the weird one for asking follow-up questions. Classic deflection move. Let me get this straight. My fiancée wants to disappear into the woods overnight with her ex and a bunch of strangers, and I'm supposed to just pat her on the back and wish her a fun time like she's going on a Target run. I gave her a look. Vicky, I'm not comfortable with that. Here it comes. Boom, mask off. She rolls her eyes and goes straight into the script. Wow. Are you seriously trying to tell me who I can and can't hang out with? It's 2024. Just because Julian and I used to date doesn't mean we can't be friends. You're acting like a controlling psycho. I'm standing there in work boots and a damp shirt from being under the sink, and now I'm being called controlling for having boundaries. I didn't yell, didn't get emotional. I kept it simple. Look, I said, it's not about trust, it's about respect. You want to go hiking for the day? Fine. I've got no problem with that. But overnight in a tent with your ex, that crosses a line. That's when she really lost it. Full volume. Accused me of policing her freedom. Said I had toxic views on female friendships. Claimed this was exactly the kind of fragile masculinity her friend Brittany warned her about. Started monologuing like she was on a podcast. I stood there watching her rant, just nodding slowly. I've worked with grown men who scream into crawl spaces because a pipe cracked. This was amateur hour. Then she stormed out of the kitchen, whipped out her phone, and called Brittany on speaker. I could hear Brittany the second the call connected. "Girl, you will not believe the crap I'm dealing with right now." And that's how she spent the next hour, pacing through the living room, whining about how I was a jealous caveman while I went back to fixing the disposal like a damn adult. That was the moment, I think, where the last little piece of illusion broke. Up until then, I'd been giving her the benefit of the doubt. But hearing her twist the whole thing like I was some angry possessive psycho, that's when I knew I wasn't dealing with a misunderstanding. I was dealing with someone who wanted all the perks of being in a relationship with none of the accountability. And something in me started quietly preparing for war. Sunday morning, I'm out in the garage doing what I usually do when I need to reset my brain, organizing tools, socket sets, impact drivers, pipe wrenches, the whole lineup. Got the football game playing low on the radio. Air smelled like sawdust and WD-40. Peaceful. Then my phone buzzed. It's a text from Tommy. "Dude, you need to see Vicky's Instagram story right now." I wipe my hands off, open the app, and boom, there it is. Front row seat to my own execution. She posted a block of text with a black and white aesthetic background like she's running a trauma recovery page. It read, "Some men still think they own women. They can't handle confident women with male friends. They call it boundaries. I call it control. Toxic masculinity is alive and well, and I won't be silenced." Oh, but that wasn't it. She also posted a picture of herself from the waist up with some moody forest background filter captioned, "I'm done apologizing for needing freedom. Women aren't property. Red flags, know your worth, healing vibes only." It was in her main feed, her story, and reposted into this dumpster fire of a Facebook group called Women Supporting Women, which, from what I could tell, was basically Brittany's personal cult of personality. That post went full viral within their little circle. Over 60 comments in a few hours. The highlight reel, "Brittany, girl, run. This is abuse waiting to happen. Some chick named Keely, men like this are textbook narcissists. I dated one. They never change." One woman, I'd never met in my life, actually tagged another person and said, "This is the kind of guy you were warning me about. I wasn't just being thrown under the bus. I was being duct taped to the bumper and dragged through Instagram town square for the public to applaud." 3 years. 3 years of fixing crap she broke, cooking dinner when she had client burnout, cleaning up after her dog, sitting through brunches with her idiot influencer friends, pretending to care about their kombucha sponsorships. And she repaid me by painting me as the villain to 800 people who only knew me through her cropped photos and recycled captions. But weirdly, I didn't get mad. I didn't throw anything. I didn't pace. I just got still. Like when you're elbow deep in a crawl space trying to find a leak and suddenly it clicks. It's the upstairs toilet flange, not the main line. You stop guessing. You know. That's what this moment felt like. Clarity. This wasn't about a disagreement. This wasn't about boundaries. This was her laying the groundwork to make herself look like the victim when she eventually bailed and maybe line up her next healing phase boyfriend. While she was at it, I screenshotted everything. Every post, every comment, every hashtag. Downloaded backups, printed a few just for fun. Then I made 3 calls. First call, "Tommy. Remember what you said about red flags?" "Bro," I said. She was a walking parade float. "Yeah, I need help moving some stuff." He didn't ask questions, just said, "Tell me when." Second call, David, my locksmith buddy, old school guy, works out of his truck, doesn't ask questions as long as you pay cash. "Hey man, can you rekey my place tomorrow? Got the tools in the truck already?" "Cool. Front door, garage, keypad, and throw in a new deadbolt." "I'll throw in a 6-pack. You want it loud or quiet?" "Let's go quiet. Copy that." Third call, my cousin Mike runs a small moving outfit. Good guys, discreet. "Hey man, you got any availability tomorrow morning?" "For what size job?" "1 person's worth. No furniture, just clothes, shoes, makeup, electronics, and some unnecessary kitchen crap. You want bubble wrap?" "Only for the ring light." He laughed. "We'll be there at 8. By the time I hung up, everything was already in motion. I went inside, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and spent the rest of the evening making a list. Not an emotional one, not a revenge plan, just inventory. What was hers? What was mine? What needed to leave my house the second she did? Game on. Monday morning, Vicky left for work like it was just another day. Still scrolling through her feed, still smiling like she hadn't just torched me in front of her little digital lynch mob. That story was still up. Same dramatic captions, same hollow empowerment quotes, same peanut gallery of her toxic crew patting her on the back like she'd just survived a hostage situation. As soon as her car was out of the driveway, I pulled the trigger. 8:05 a.m. Sharp. Tommy pulled up in his Tacoma with 2 coffees, and that smirk he saves for when something's about to go hilariously sideways. "Game day," he said, handing me a coffee. "What's the play, coach?" "Full purge," I said. Clothes, makeup, electronics, everything in the guest bathroom. And if you find anything that says, live, laugh, love, it's going in the burn pile. Mike and his crew showed up 5 minutes later, 4 guys, 2 dollies, about 50 labeled boxes. His foreman was this quiet dude named Louis, who could disassemble an IKEA vanity faster than a divorce lawyer in Los Angeles. No questions, no judgment, just pro-level execution. We had a system. I pointed, they packed. Tommy gave color commentary like it was an NFL broadcast. "All right, folks, we're starting strong with the Closet Chaos package. A full spectrum of leggings, camera equipment, and 17 pairs of boots that all look identical." I went into the master bathroom and took one look at her shelf. Serums, sprays, skincare products, with ingredient lists longer than my tax return. I didn't even bother sorting. Dumped it all into a box labeled lotion and BS. I slapped a fragile sticker on it just to be ironic. Tommy held up a jade face roller like it was evidence from a crime scene. "Bro, what the hell is this thing?" $50 placebo, I said. "She used it twice." Sounds about right. By the time we hit the kitchen, it was just getting stupid. Spiralizers, avocado slicers, a freaking matcha whisk set, all brand new. Half of it still had tags. Tommy held up an ice cream maker like it was a murder weapon. "Bro, when has this ever been used?" "Never." I said it was part of her aesthetic baking era. Lasted 3 days. Ended in a meltdown about lighting. Her stuff filled half the truck, no exaggeration. Piles of fast fashion, vanity junk, unused gadgets, and about 40 decorative pillows she once told me tie the room together. Newsflash, they tied together jack all. The weirdest discovery, 3 identical phone chargers hidden in different rooms. Apparently, she'd been hoarding them like a damn prepper. Found equipment I didn't even know existed. Stuff stored in the coat closet. Another set under the guest bed. It was like archaeological evidence of her digital addiction. David the locksmith rolled up around noon. Cool as ever, no chit-chat, just went to work. Swapped out the front deadbolt, added a heavy-duty one to the back, and reprogrammed the garage keypad to a code only I knew. "Clean break?" he asked. "Cleaner than her makeup brushes," I said. By 2:30 p.m. the house was purged. Every trace of her was boxed, sealed, and loaded. All that remained was clean floors and quiet. Here's where it gets fun. Instead of dumping her stuff at her parents' place, or worse, confronting her face-to-face, I got tactical. Remember that storage apartment she kept downtown? The one she thought I didn't know she still used occasionally to work in peace or do yoga without distractions? Yeah, I had a spare key she didn't know I made 6 months ago. Because I'm not an idiot. I drove the truck down myself, parked in the alley, opened the place up. Still smelled like essential oils and overpriced candles. I took my time, arranged everything neatly in the living room. Clothes hung up, shoes lined along the wall. Her office chair had her laptop bag perfectly draped over it like a showroom piece. The pillows, I stacked them in a perfect Instagram tier triangle. Right in the center of it all, I left a handwritten note. "Since you need space to figure things out, here's all the space you need. The camping trip is yours. The house is mine." I locked the door behind me, dropped the keys in the entry basket she used for crystals, drove home, sat in my recliner, kicked my boots off, cracked a Gatorade, and turned on SportsCenter like it was any other Monday. Except this time, I wasn't the one getting played. The fireworks were coming, and I had a front row seat. Vicky got home around 6:30. I was already planted in my recliner, feet up, watching SportsCenter. Had dinner on a paper plate, pulled pork leftovers, zero stress. I heard her car in the gravel, then the unmistakable clink of her key hitting the front door. Click, jiggle, nothing. A pause, shuffle to the garage. Another key, another fail. Then about 30 seconds of confused silence. I imagined she was blinking like a raccoon caught in headlights. Then came the storm. Bang, bang, bang. What the hell is this? Open the door right now. I didn't move, didn't flinch. Kept my eyes on the TV like I was watching playoff highlights because I was. My phone lit up on the armrest like a Vegas slot machine. Text 1, this isn't funny, let me in. Text 2, are you insane? Text 3, you can't lock me out of my house. That one made me chuckle. Your house, lady? Your name's not on the deed. You don't pay rent. You don't pay utilities. You kept your backup apartment for independence. Well, congrats. You're independent now. From 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., I was a one-man call center. There were 28 missed calls, not including the 5 unknown number ones she probably made on Brittany's phone trying to catch me slipping. Some of the voicemails were Academy Award-worthy. You're having a mental breakdown and I'm worried for your safety. This is literally illegal. You're going to jail. Spoiler, I'm not. I'm calling the cops. She didn't. My dad's a lawyer and you're finished. He sells State Farm policies in a strip mall. When I get in there, you're going to regret this. Oh, sweetheart. I don't regret anything. At 10:54 p.m., Tommy texted me with the update. Bro, she's back on Instagram. This shit's getting wild. Might want to pour a drink. I opened it up and yep, there it was. Another emotional monologue on her story. Some people literally lose their minds when you try to have independence. I'm scared. I'm shocked. Pray for me dealing with actual psychotic behavior right now. It had the full melodramatic package, blurry selfie, red eyes, soft indie music in the background, and a hands-together emoji for extra sympathy. The comments, a complete circus. Brittany, documenting everything for court. Stay safe, babe. Keely, this is legit domestic abuse. I'd be terrified. Someone named Shay. He sounds unhinged. Get somewhere safe and call a women's advocate line. Some girl I've never met tagged another chick and commented, isn't this just like what happened with your ex? The best part, half these chicks giving relationship advice were either single, divorced, or dating guys who looked like they'd never changed a tire in their lives. Real credible sources. I screenshot all of it. Every post, every comment, every emoji, just in case she got real bold later and tried to rewrite history. Call me paranoid. I call it exhibit prep. Then I muted my notifications, tossed my phone on the nightstand, and went to bed. Slept like a man who just decluttered his entire life in a single afternoon. No more staged avocado toast. No more explaining that I actually own the plumbing company and don't just work with pipes. Just silence. And that silence, it sounded like freedom. Tuesday morning hits and my phone looks like it went through a war zone. 43 missed calls, 62 unread texts. Vicky must have spent the night rage texting from her apartment, bouncing between threats, guilt trips, and inspirational quotes about healing from betrayal. But I wasn't done yet. See, this wedding wasn't just a social event for Vicky. For her parents, it was a full-on legacy move. Her mom had been planning it since Vicky grew boobs. They'd booked the venue 9 months in advance, picked out centerpieces before we'd finalized the guest list, even hired a drone guy for aerial footage. 150 guests, $25,000 already down, save the dates printed in gold foil. But more importantly, they were decent people. Her parents had always treated me respectfully. Her dad even once pulled me aside and said, I'm glad she found someone grounded. I figured they deserved the truth before she spun her little I escaped an abuser narrative their way. So, I pulled up to their place around 10 a.m., sharp clothes, printed screenshots in a manila folder, and a mind like a courtroom litigator. They answered the door like normal. Hey, good to see you. Vicky's upstairs, her mom said. Actually, I need to talk to both of you first. We sat down at their kitchen table. Granite countertops, a plate of muffins no one touched, and a whole lot of awkward silence as I laid out the documents like an FBI drop. Screenshots, captions, comments, story archives, Facebook group rants. Her entire curated descent into digital victimhood, complete with timestamp receipts. The moment they started reading the posts aloud, some men think they own women. He's trying to isolate me. Pray for me, he's unstable. I saw the cracks form. Her mom's eyes were glassy. Her dad just stared. Then he quietly asked, is this all real? It's her words, all public. Nothing edited, I said. She didn't say any of this to us, her mom whispered. She didn't have to, I replied. She told everyone else. That's when I heard it. The sound of socked feet stomping down the stairs. Vicky. Apparently, she'd been crashing at their place since I kicked her out, which made the timing even more poetic. She must have seen my car from the window. She came in swinging, eyes wild. "Are you kidding me? You came to my parents' house to lie about me?" Her voice cracked, not from sadness, but from losing the narrative. Her dad didn't even flinch, just held up a screenshot like a legal exhibit. "Vicky, did you really post all this?" And boom, the spiral began. Her defenses came out fast. I was controlling. I was toxic. I was twisting everything. She called me manipulative, said I snapped, and kicked her out with no warning. Her dad kept asking for straight answers. She gave none. Every attempt to flip the script just made her look worse. The worst part, watching her mom try to hide her disappointment. That quiet kind of shame where a parent realizes their kid's not the victim. They're the problem. It ended with her dad standing up, walking into the other room, and coming back with a manila envelope. "Wedding contracts." "We're canceling everything," he said flatly. "I'd rather lose deposits than dignity." I nodded, stood up and thanked them, walked toward the door. That's when Vicky followed me outside, fully unhinged now that the audience was gone. "You think you're so smart? You just ruined the best thing that ever happened to you. I was settling for you, and now you're going to be alone forever with your stupid little plumbing business." I turned, looked her dead in the eye, and laughed. "Vicky," I said, "I own a house. I run a business. I've got a waiting list of clients and 4 guys who depend on me for work. I'm not alone. I'm focused. You're 28, live in a 1-bedroom surrounded by camera equipment, and just lost your meal ticket because you couldn't resist playing victim for clout. Good luck with your nature therapy weekend." She didn't respond, just stood there breathing heavy, blinking too fast, mascara already sliding. I got in my truck and drove off. 6 months later, she started texting again. At first, basic, "Hey, can we talk? I miss you." Then paragraphs, apologies, excuses, long-winded therapy talk. She said she was in counseling now, learning about her toxic patterns, that she realized what she'd lost. Claimed the camping trip was nothing. Julian meant nothing. The drama was a mistake. Apparently, Julian ghosted her right after that weekend. Shocking, I know. And her friend group splintered fast. Brittany had a falling out with someone over a brand sponsorship, and half the crew unfollowed each other. The social media empire collapsed from inside like a cheap tent. Then last month, she showed up, pulled into my driveway in the same old car, sat there and parked for a full 20 minutes. I watched her from the window. No makeup, hoodie, hair in a sad little bun. She looked like the ghost of the person she pretended to be online. She walked up and knocked. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. I stepped outside but didn't invite her in. Make it quick. What followed was a performance. Apologies, tears, offers to delete social media, cut off all her friends, go to couples counseling, do whatever it takes. Said she never stopped loving me. Said I was the best man she'd ever known. I let her finish. Let the silence sit for a moment. Then I hit her with it. "Vicky, I appreciate the apology, but you didn't just make a mistake. You showed me your character. When things got hard, you didn't talk to me. You broadcasted lies about me to the world. You tried to turn people against me and make yourself the victim. That's not miscommunication. That's who you are." She started sobbing, mascara down her cheeks, shaking, begging, and I kept my voice level. "I need you to leave now. Don't come back." I went inside, locked the door, and stood at the window. She sat in her car for 10 more minutes, then drove off. That was 3 weeks ago. Haven't heard from her since. Tommy was right all along. She wanted a man she could film. I wanted a woman I could build with. My house is calm and peaceful now. Found out through a mutual friend that Vicky is back on dating apps. She doesn't post much anymore. Her account's private now. Brittany's off social media completely. Karma's got a funny little way of circling the block. I'm seeing someone new now. She's a baker and she makes the best donuts. No drama, no followers. She has a mortgage, a dog, and thinks the entire story is hilarious. We laugh about it over burgers on the deck. She wanted a #worthy love story. I gave her the reality check Instagram doesn't allow. To the people saying I should have communicated better, I communicated perfectly. I clearly stated my boundary. She chose to ignore it and publicly attack me instead. Sometimes the best communication is showing someone the door. Never let anyone disrespect you, no matter how good they look in yoga pants.